Good afternoon. It's 3 p.m. and I'll call to order the Mission Springs Water District Board of Directors regular meeting for Monday, June 17th, 2024. May I have a roll call, please?
Director Meyerhoffen.
Present.
Director Duff.
Here.
Director Martin.
Here.
Vice President Griffith.
Present.
President Sewell.
Here.
Thank you. We have quorum.
And seeing that all 5 of us are present, we'll skip item 3 and move on to item 4. If you'd please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Director Martin, would you lead us?
Sure. Place your hand over your heart and salute our nation's flag and follow the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 5, Rules of Procedure. Counselor?
Yes, according to the rules of procedure adopted by the Board of Directors, all noticed meetings are conducted using Rosenberg's Rules of Order as a procedural guideline. Directors should refrain from responding directly to public comments at meetings of the board. The president of the board presides at all meetings and decides all points of order and procedure during meetings. The president is responsible for the maintenance of order and decorum at all board meetings. No person should be allowed to speak who has not first been recognized by the president. No member of the board should speak more than once upon any one subject until every other member of the board wishing to speak on the subject shall have been given an opportunity to speak. No board member shall interfere with the orderly progress of a board meeting, and the board president regulates the amount of time to be dedicated to a particular agenda item.
Thank you. Moving on to item 6, public input. This is the opportunity for members of the public to address the board on matters within the board's jurisdiction. Please limit comments to 3 minutes or less. State law prohibits the board from discussing or taking action on any item not listed on the agenda. Do we have any members of the public wishing to address the board?
President Sewell, online, we do not.
Okay. Thank you. Employee recognition, item 7, human resources report. Before I turn this over to our general manager, I do want to mention his recent accomplishment. You'll notice on our staff report, General Manager Macy recently obtained his Master's of Public Administration degree from San Diego State University. Brian also holds a Bachelor's of Science in Civil Engineering from Ohio Northern University and is a licensed civil engineer in California and Ohio. We have a very talented team of employees here at MSWD. Our General Manager Macy sets a great example for all of our employees, showing them that lifelong learning is essential and it makes our organization more valuable to the community that we serve. On behalf of the board, congratulations to General Manager Macy.
Thank you, President Sewell.
We thought you'd skip over that part.
Obviously, some staff got to you that I couldn't control, so I apologize about that. I thought I had that better under wraps, but yes, thank you. Today, we have 2 anniversaries and an additional education accomplishment that I would like to highlight. This month, we have 2 employees celebrating their anniversaries, representing more than 10 years of service with our customers. This includes Joseph McRone, our wastewater treatment plant operator 1, who is celebrating 3 years of service. Alex 9, lead fleet and maintenance facilities maintenance worker, who is celebrating 7 years of service with the district. On behalf of the staff and the management team, I would like to thank each of them for their service. Next slide, please. On to accomplishments. I would like to congratulate Water Production Operator 1, Charles Bell, who recently graduated from Walden University with his Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration. Charles joined us in April 2023 from 29 Palms Water District, where he's a water quality production operator. In addition to his bachelor's degree, Charles also holds a T2, a D3, and a backflow certification. Here to say a few words about Charles is his water production supervisor, Chad Finch. Chad?
Thank you, General Manager Macy and President. It's a pleasure to, I didn't hit the unmute button there. It's a pleasure to acknowledge the accomplishments of Charles Bell during his time here at MSWD. You know, he started here not too long ago, April of 2023. And during that short time here with us so far, during that time, he's got his water distribution grade 3. He completed his associate's degree in water supply and technology, and he also got his bachelor's science degree in business administration. I think the most exciting thing is that he did that bachelor's degree in just a short period of just only 6 months of time, while holding a full-time job down and while volunteering on his off Fridays at the wastewater plant as he works towards his wastewater certification. So he is a young man that is highly dedicated, and that shows even in his work as his water production operator. I see it in his work all day, every day, and he's a pleasure to have part of our team. So I wanted him to come up here and share a few words to you. I think he has a couple comments.
Good afternoon, board,
Hello.
President Sewell, board. Yeah, thank you for taking the time to acknowledge my achievement. It's something that I've been working hard towards. Chad, he fosters an environment conducive to learning, and I'm glad to add this accomplishment to my complement of accolades that I've been building up over the past couple of years. But with the support of MSWD, I'll continue working on my engineering degree and my master's. So you guys offer the place where I want to be and continue learning and growing. And you guys offer that. And I appreciate everyone here. Thank you, Brian. Congratulations on yours as well. Thank you, board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys want to stand up?
Stand.
Again, Charles, congratulations. That concludes our HR report today. The management team and I genuinely appreciate and commend those employees for their dedication, commitment to our customers. So thank you.
Yes, thank you, and congratulations on the anniversaries and the two accomplishments of Charles and Brian. I think our team is just getting better every day, so thank you. Any comments from the board? No. And I noticed we had another member join us, a person join us in the back. Did you have public comment at all? We had just passed that part before you walked in. Thank you. Moving on to presentations, we have item 8, CWEA awards presentation.
Thank you, President Sewell. Many of the board already is aware, earlier this year, MSWD took home 3 regional wastewater awards, which were presented at the Colorado River Basin Section, or CORBS, meeting last January. The awards received were Small Plant of the Year, Collection System Person of the Year, and Community Engagement and Outreach Project of the Year from from CORBS. After the regional awards, MSWD entered the statewide competition, earning 3 honors. Here to present those accomplishments is the past president of CWEA and board liaison to CORBS. Chuck, would you introduce yourself, and the floor is yours.
Thank you and good afternoon. Thanks for having me today. My name is Chuck Greeley, as Brian said, past president of CWEA and also past president of CORBS. So my time at CWEA goes back almost 20 years. So it's been a pleasure as a local resident to be involved for that amount of time and see our mission to educate, train, and certify wastewater professionals. So before I begin, I do want to take one quick moment and recognize your support. Without our employee support, our members would not be able to volunteer and serve their time. Throughout all my nearly 20 years of involvement, Mission Springs has been one of the biggest local supporters of CORBS, going towards your employees, their volunteerism. So thank you very much for your support. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you.
As a president and board member for CWEA, one of the greatest pleasures I have is celebrating our members and their achievements and outstanding accomplishments. So it's great to be here with you today to share this with you and share this with your staff. As Brian mentioned, you have 3 awards that we want to recognize today. The first is going to be the Community Engagement and Outreach Program of the Year. This award recognizes significant achievements in promoting awareness and understanding of water quality issues. So this year, Mission Springs Water District was awarded 2nd place. And please know, these statewide competitions are incredibly difficult. So they're very competitive. So that is quite an accomplishment. Also want to recognize Plant of the Year. So the Plan of the Year Award recognizes accomplishments in compliance, innovative practices, cost effectiveness, safety, and superior plant performance. So this year, the Horton plant was awarded 3rd place in the state. So, and the last one I want to recognize today is a special one in my heart because I've had a chance to work with this individual throughout my time with CWEA. And that is Lee Boyer for the PIC. Come on up, Lee. The PIC was first established by a few collection systems people at the San Francisco Bay section as a tool to recognize sewer workers. It was started as a way to say thank you. Your volunteer efforts are appreciated, respected, and have been helpful furthering the CWEA Collection Systems Committee with your committee work, organizing meetings, volunteering at events, and other tasks, as well as your time. The PIC also symbolizes the chief implement that sewer workers use to pop manholes. PIC stands for professionalism, ingenuity, contribution, and knowledge. Recognition can go to a CWEA member in any discipline who contributes to the Collection System Committee and its work. Others could include vendors, safety professionals, and professional development trainers. There's no minimum length of service required, and new and veteran volunteers get to be recognized. These efforts, in some way, are that recognize the tremendous amount of personal hours that make our organization the most cost-effective mix of volunteer time, effort, as well as our paid professional staff. So please join me in recognizing Lee for earning the PIC. So that gets to add to Lee's CWA bling, as you see, shovels and picks and all sorts of fun things on our collars. So thank you for your time. And again, thank you for your support of CWA and our mission. So,
Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thanks so much.
I'm standing on an elevated platform and you're still taller than me.
Right. Item 9, Government Finance Officers Association Award Presentation, Award for Excellence in Budget Reporting.
Thank you, President Sewell. It was announced earlier this year that Mission Springs Water District earned the Government Finance Officers Association Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for our 2023-24 fiscal budget. This award represents a significant achievement as it reflects the commitment of the district and its staff to meet the highest principles of government budgeting. To receive the award, MSWD had to satisfy nationally recognized guidelines for an effective budget presentation, which assesses how well the organization's budget serves as a policy document, financial plan, operations guide, and communications device. Now, this is somewhat personal for myself and even Arturo, as this is something we talked about all the way back in 2019. And I'm very proud that the accounting department was able to work so hard to get this award. They turned a simple spreadsheet that really is all it was one spreadsheet, even only a couple years before I got here, into the 161-page document you see today. We've already started, and actually Arturo and I already started planning how we're going to improve it for next year. So again, I would like to thank Arturo and his staff. Arturo, please come up and say some words.
Thank you, General Manager Macy, President Sewell, and members of the board. As we continue to take the information presented from the board and staff to make those changes, as we continue to go to Aqua and CSDA and all those trainings to learn best practices and to learn what not to do from the errors that other agencies are doing, and the recommendations that you make every single day. We are taking those and making improvements every single month, as you've seen on the GM report, and we continue to do those changes. And it is we're already looking into next year in those recommendations you made this year and those improvements. And obviously, like, the department couldn't be, it's not doing it by itself. And as the entire district contributes to the information being presented. And also I want to thank each department and also the accounting staff who has allowed everyone else to focus on some of those reports as opposed to the day-to-day items. And I have them here with me to receive the award that we received, which is timely because again, we are in the timeline after we have presented this year's budget. It is going to be to again request that certificate to keep it ongoing. Last year, as part of the award, they did provide recommendations of the things we needed to improve to make it more clear, to make it more informational for our public, and we have made those changes in the hopes that we continue with that award in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. And kind of along those lines, you mentioned the CSDA and Aqua, and we'll go to these sessions and they'll tell us ways to improve. And the past few years, it's kind of been more, hey, we're already doing that. We're already doing that. Where in the past, it was, we'd come back with lots of ideas. So I'm happy to have you guys taking ideas and running with them. And you look at the budget this year, it's better than it's ever been. So thank you. And item 10, I told you it wouldn't be too long. Desert Hot Springs High School Real Academy Internship Program. General Manager?
Thank you, President. So I will ask Assistant General Manager Mary Champion to come up and give this presentation on this award.
Thank you, directors, and good afternoon. Following the successful completion of our spring internship program with the Desert Hot Springs High School Real Academy, MSWD is once again partnering with the school to provide students with hands-on experience working here at the district. This summer, we're hosting 4 students who are working in our water production, wastewater, engineering, and public affairs department. The 4 students, who will be seniors next year, started their rotations last week and will be with us for the next 2 weeks. I've asked each of the students and their advisor to today's meeting for a brief introduction. First, we have Stephanie. Stephanie is entering in the Public Affairs Department. She says she really enjoys getting out of her comfort zone. Normally shy, she has felt comfortable and more confident working here with the MSWD team. She plans to continue college and explore options about different career opportunities. Since starting the internship at MSWD, she has realized how many areas and different career paths there are and has a new interest in public affairs. Next, we have Mary, who is interning in the engineering department. Mary enjoys learning about the sewer system, creating equations to understand the slope of the sewer line, and going out in the field to see how the sewer works in person. She's going to attend College of the Desert and then a university to study either engineering or pharmaceuticals. Next, I'd like to introduce Jeremy, who is interning in the wastewater department. Jeremy has enjoyed learning about the system and being out in the field with the team and getting a hands-on experience. Jeremy is planning to join the Marines after high school, and as of now, he wants to study to be an electrician, but he's excited to explore all of the career opportunities he will learn while in the Marines. And last but certainly not least is Samuel, who is interning in the water production department, where he's enjoying learning about the water system and how everything works together in order to supply water to our community. He has also enjoyed seeing how we test water and being able to go in the field to the different well and reservoir sites. Samuel is also planning to join the Marines after high school and was planning to go into the infantry. But now, after the internship, he is looking at a career in the water industry as he was not aware of the different opportunities that water had to offer. And with that, I'm going to have them come up and take a quick picture. Thank you.
Thank you. Mhm. Good job.
And before I let you go, I do have the advisor from the Real Academy who would like to say just a few words.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Sam Cuccinello. I'm actually the work-based learning coordinator, so I work with all the academies. Mr. Heiser specifically is in charge of Real. But I just wanted to thank you all for giving our students this opportunity. I know that it's a lot of work sometimes. It takes a little energy, a little time out from what your employees are doing. But the kids have been really welcomed in. Marion, April, everyone that they've worked with has really embrace them. And it's really nice that my main job also is to get them there and pick them up each day. So when I pick them up and I hear them talking to each other about what they did and the excitement about what they did during the day, that's how I know it was really worthwhile, because I hear them when they were comparing what they did and where they went and how they did it and who they talked to and who they worked with. I can hear that energy, and it's really nice. It shows that they're getting something out of it. They're enjoying it. And it sounds like your staff members are also enjoying having them, which really makes it a great experience for everybody. So on behalf of the school, myself, and everyone, I really want to thank you all for giving our students this opportunity. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And to the students, at a lot of these conferences we go to, they call it the silver tsunami. And we've done a good job, I think, recently. If you would have seen our last GM, he had really gray hair, but there's a lot of older water professionals that are getting to retirement age, and there's actually a shortage for water professional staff. So look into it. A lot of good careers. I'm sure you've all experienced it just in this first week or two here. There's a lot more to it than just turning on your faucet. So best of luck as you transition from your high school career to your career. So, sure.
I'm a second generation Marine, and every base has contaminated water. And your service to wherever you go, even if it's in the military, what you know about water may be of very great value. Keep up the good work, guys. Good luck in the Marine Corps, and have fun in boot camp.
Any other comments? Director Duff?
I just wanted to add a little bit to what the president was referring to. I was sitting in on a meeting just 3 months ago, and the district discussed how with the retirements they experienced in the last 6 months, they lost over 300 years of experience by the employees that they lost in retirement. That's open job opportunities that are careers that will feed your families and your lifestyles and propel all of you and any of your friends. So tell everyone, if they're looking for something, the water world is where to go. And we're very glad that you are here. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just, we periodically hear, watching the news and the media, hear negative things about the youth of today. And you have gone out of your way to prove those comments wrong. You people are just outstanding. I really admire what you're doing, and I wish you all the best in what the future has to hold for you.
I just want to echo, it's really interesting. When you're in high school, you kind of think, I want to do this or I want to do that, and you don't really understand there's a whole world of opportunity out there. And until you experience things, until you get out of the valley, until you go see other cities, until you see other jobs, you really don't understand what the world can be for you. So the fact that you're doing this is really outstanding. And I think it really points you in a good direction for your future. And I just want to say, they just talked about losing 300 years of experience. When Director Martin leaves us, that will be another 100 years. So then we'll be at 400. So great job.
120.
And as Vice President Griffith said, I'm sure many of you through the Marines or college will leave the Valley, but you're always welcome back. So thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to action items. Item 11, public hearing, resolution 2024-11 to establish water standby assessments. It is recommended that Resolution 2024-11 be adopted, making a determination to fix, levy, and collect water service standby assessments for the fiscal year 2024-25. This is the time and place fixed publicly to hear all protests, objections, or appeals with respect to the water standby assessments. The public hearing will be declared open and staff will give the report. I will then call for comments from the public. During this time, there will be no back and forth conversation between the public and the board and staff. All questions will be noted and will be addressed after all public comments have been received. The public hearing will then be closed and board may discuss and vote on the proposed assessments. I declare this public hearing open. Secretary's report, please.
Notice of public hearing was published in the Desert Sun on May 24th and May 31st, 2024. Additionally, postcards detailing this public hearing were mailed to all affected customers on May 9th, 2024. As of this afternoon, there have been no comments or protests on this item.
Thank you. And staff report.
Yes, thank you, President Sewell and members of the board. I will do a quick presentation on the information that we are sending to the county for the property taxes in terms of the standby charges and give you a little bit of history and background. If you'll allow me, I will do the presentation for both the water and sewer in one presentation simply because of how they are interrelated. So let me share my screen and start the presentation. So again, this is for resolution 2024-11 and 12. The water standby charges, as you remember, the water system was first implemented by the district 1950s. And in 1966, we implemented the standby charges. And with the standby charges, again, as you know, there's water lines that go to certain properties that just sit there. In order to maintain those lines, it is costly for the district to keep those available and ready at a moment's notice whenever there's a new building that comes around and we have to provide water service as required by city ordinance and also the district. In 1966, we implemented this charge in order to maintain those charges and expenses related to maintaining those lines up to the property lines. And just, you know, we do have some background as to how we came up with those charges up to the 330 feet, $26.80. Anything over that, up to 1320 feet, an additional $13.40. That is why when you look at the report, some of those amounts are a little bit different. Where you look at the sewer, when it's just one set amount, they're basically you do easy multiplication by the number of parcels and the rate, which is how you come up with that. The sewer, as you know, was implemented a little later. We started the Horton plant, and that is why that came about, the standby charges in 1974. The maintenance costs associated with those, maintaining those lines, both water and sewer, are astronomical, even though the rates have remained the same since implemented back in those 2 years. A little bit of background from the state. It basically tells you, it is pretty straightforward when it comes to this. A lot of the water agencies have been using it for many, many years. And it is basically broken down into what we're allowed to do, what we need to do in order to continue these charges. One of the main things is this public hearing, and also in how by the date that we have to put them on the property taxes and the amounts. We do send out those letters and public notices to our customers, letting them know of those charges so that if there's any questions, some of them do come up. A lot of them don't come up until after those charges are under property taxes and it shows up as a line item. They're calling us to find out what it is that that we placed on those charges. We do hire Well Done Financial Services, who takes those calls for us, answers the customer's questions. And also, when we do have new connections for water and sewer, they are the ones responsible for alerting the county that they no longer need to be charged those fees, because now they're connected to our system and they are paying those monthly connection fees and also the maintenance fees for those lines that go to those properties, even if they're not connected to our system, especially for the sewer. Again, those sections in the water, the California Government Code, pretty straightforward, and all of them are within that 54,984 line. I did make a mistake on that second line. It should be 984, not 54,094, which basically sets the timeline, the requirements. And again, a lot of this is primarily for water and sewer districts, and based on the fact that we do have to provide those services. I did take your notes from Thursday's questions and showing you the 2 years comparison. 2024, we have 4,629 water parcels with fees of 232,689. Again, if you think about the fact that these fees are to maintain those lines and you're looking at the charges that we have to pay every single month, that's nothing compared to what we have to pay. Last year's number was 4,668 parcels. Again, the difference is those properties that have now connected to our system that have decreased, and therefore we're charging them less. These are the different assessments that we have to place on the property taxes to show which properties are associated with these parcels. And finally, on the sewer, again, comparing 2024 to 2023, this year, 1,078 versus last year, 1,086. And those fees are a lot less simply because back then when we implemented the sewer charges, that new plant was brand new. The maintenance charges on those lines were very insignificant compared to what they are now. And also look at the those fees to maintain those lines for those properties that don't have anything built on them of $12,870 compared to $12,950. And again, that difference is those properties that have connected since last year to this year. And if there's any additional questions that I may answer.
And we'll actually do public comment prior to the board discussion. Do we have any members of the public wishing to speak on this item?
President Sewell, not online.
All right, well, the public comment session is closed and we'll have board discussion. Director Martin, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, for the benefit of the public who may be watching this, what would be the problem in not having a standby assessment, but only when we actually have property that's under development to charge them at that time, as opposed to having a standby assessment waiting for development to occur?
Yeah, obviously the cost to put in feet of pipes in the ground, whether it's water or sewer, is a lot more expensive to do it when needed than do it ahead when we have a project already going down that line. A lot of the times what we do is if there's two different properties in one side of the street, we make that property at the furthest side pay for those connections in between. And whenever those properties do have buildings in them, they pay their fair share. So we do have that in place in order to keep development going. We're not going to be the ones who sit there and say you can't develop simply because it's going to be very costly for us to put those lines all the way to the end of the street. You're just going to be in charge of paying for that. And then later on, we're going to come back and recover for those people that are connecting in between.
Thank you.
Director Mayo?
Excuse me, I think everybody knows how I feel about putting property on tax rolls. But in this case, they're vacant properties. And it makes it really easy for the district to collect the money. And we won't be making anybody homeless by doing this.
Director Duff?
Just one thing I wanted to kind of reiterate that you had said on Thursday that you partially repeated today. We had talked about in general, if there are issues with the customer, who has to field that, and that goes to the county. And when you said today that the owner of the property or whoever becomes the owner of the property is responsible for notifying the county to remove them from this list, to me, it's very clear that this is the appropriate place to put those funds and the collection of that so that all of the reporting and all of the communication between the customer is with the county.
One clarification I would do want to make, we do, despite the fact that it is the customer's responsibility, we do let the county know that they have connected and therefore take them off on the list the following year. We don't want that to be an issue if that they fail to notify the county. So we do stay ahead of that and, do a second set of communication to make sure that they don't show up again the next year.
That's a great customer service we're offering. Thank you very much.
Vice President? And I have nothing. Do we have a motion for resolution 2024-11?
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Marhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Aye.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
and President Sewell.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Item 12, public hearing, resolution 2024-12 to establish sewer standby assessments. It is recommended that resolution number 2024-12 be adopted, making a determination to fix, levy, and collect sewer service standby assessments for the fiscal year 2023-24. I believe that should be 2024-25. This is a time and place fixed to publicly hear all protests, objections, or appeals with respect to the sewer standby assessments. The public hearing will be declared open and staff will give the report. I will then call for comments from the public. During this time, there will be no back and forth conversation between the public and the board and staff. All questions will be noted and that will be addressed after all public comments have been received. The public hearing will then be closed and the board may discuss and vote on the proposed assessments. I declare this public hearing open. Secretary's report, please.
Notice of public hearing was published in the Desert Sun on May 24th and May 31st, 2024. Additionally, postcards detailing this public hearing were mailed to all effective customers on May 9th, 2024. As of this afternoon, there have been no comments or protests on this item.
Thank you. And we had the staff report on the last item. Anything further from staff? Do we have any members of the public wishing to speak on item 12?
President Sewell, not online.
All right, we'll declare the public hearing closed. And do we have any discussion, questions, or comments from the board? Director Martin?
No.
Director Myhoff? Director Duff? Vice President? Do we have a motion for resolution 2024-12?
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Director Martin and a second from Vice President Griffith. And with that, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
No.
Director Duff,
Aye.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Director Griffith.
Aye.
My apologies, Vice President Griffith and President Sewell.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passes.
thank you. Item 13, resolution 2024-13, addition of delinquent accounts to the county tax rolls. It is recommended that resolution number 2024-13 be adopted, requesting the addition of delinquent water and sewer charges and other fees of $5 or more to the 2024-25 Riverside County tax rolls. General Manager?
Thank you, President Sewell. I'll ask the Director of Finance, Arturo Sale, to give the presentation. Arturo?
Yes, we did do a presentation on Thursday and there's nothing else to it at this point. If there's any additional questions that I may answer, please let me know.
Any questions from the board? Director Duff? Vice President Griffin?
I just want to reiterate, I know that Director Meyerhoffen is against putting anything on the tax, but these are,
Thing I just voted for one.
I know, but you have said that. These are delinquent accounts to which we have to service, and basically what we do is we lose money and then the other ratepayers have to subsidize the work involved to get this. So this is a more efficient and effective way of taking care of these bills and then getting that off of our books. And from that point on, we can move forward. So I just want to put that out there.
I'll come back to you. Director Martin, any questions or comments? Director Meyerhoffen?
You know, property taxes were never meant to have utilities bills put on them. And I think we could find a different way. Other companies do collection agencies. I understand that I think all water districts are taking a loss on this. And for me, I have an obligation to make sure people stay in their homes. Thank you.
Director Duff?
Thanks for coming back to me. I apologize. Just to reiterate, we have a responsibility to ensure that none of our ratepayers have to pay for the water or services provided to other ratepayers who, for whatever reason, are delinquent. And there are plenty legal opportunities for them to correct that, to appeal that, to, to discuss that. But the only way we can ensure that our current ratepayers are not paying for the delinquency of others is to collect that in full from the county on the tax rolls. So I just wanted to declare my support for that and explain why I'm supportive. Thank you.
Do we have a motion on the item?
And I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call vote, please?
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Vice President Griffith, and the second
Thank
is
you.
Director Duff.
Thank you. Director Meyerhoffen,
No,
Director Duff,
Aye.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith.
Aye.
And President Sewell.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Item 14, fiscal year budget 2024-25. We have three parts. A, it is recommended to adopt resolution number 2024-14, adopting the operating and capital budgets fiscal year 2024-25. B, it is recommended to adopt resolution number 2024-15, adopting its appropriations limit for fiscal year June 30th, 2025. C, it is recommended to adopt resolution number 2024-16, adopting its employee classification plan effective July 1st, 2024. General Manager.
Thank you, President Sewell. I'll give it to Director of Operations, Arturo Saab, or excuse me, Director of Finance, excuse me.
Thank you, General Manager Macy and President Sewell and members of the board. We did give a detailed presentation on the workshop on the 5th, and also basically went over the same presentation on Thursday, the 13th, the study session. Just want to remind everyone that it is a public forum for anyone to come in and do participate in those meetings. We are, again, as we make improvements, we are opening it more to the public to have an opportunity to provide their comments and questions, where we're going to start implementing a couple of more meetings to include those members of the public that do want to attend. And at this point, there's nothing else that we want to add to that presentation. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Okay, and I'll just make note to any of the public watching, our workshop at the beginning of the month probably has the most in-depth discussion regarding the budget, but also last Thursday's study session, if you're looking to get some more information on it. Do we have any questions or comments from the board? Director Duff?
No questions, thanks to all of your hard work as your recent award shows. But I did want to make a comment in that I'm glad to hear that you're going to be increasing the public hours, but it's wonderful that we provided over 5 hours of discussion for the public on this 170+ page budget that goes into such depth that there's nothing hidden here. The transparency is wonderful, and I am very encouraged by the improvements made and the continued work for transparency to the public. Great work.
Vice President Griffin?
Well, I don't have much to say now because of her, but I want to say thank you. You've worked really hard. It's been impressive the amount of work that you have done. Transparency seems to be the buzzword, but it is true. I see such a great difference in the past year, just in the budget process alone, and the participation and the feedback that you've allowed us to give. So thank you. It is quite an enormous document, and I really appreciate all of the time spent explaining it to us because it is kind of cumbersome. So thank you.
Thank you. Director Martin?
No, nothing.
Director Meyerhoff?
No.
And I'll just echo their comments. I think it's a great document, and it's relatively easy to thumb through if you're not one of the, if you're just a member of the public, it's pretty easy to see the different line items and department budgets, and to receive an award today for last year's budget, and you've improved on that. I look forward to receiving the award for this year's budget. So thank you very much to you and all your staff. Do we have a motion to approve fiscal year 2024-25 budget?
I will move.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Aye.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
President Sewell.
Bless you.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 15, Resolution 2024-18, amending Resolution 2024-02, revisions to Mission Springs Water District personnel rules and regulations. It is recommended to adopt Resolution 2024-18, providing for the revisions to Mission Springs Water District personnel rules and regulations. General Manager?
Thank you, President Sewell. I'll ask our Human Resources Manager, Mariana Hoffert, to give the presentation or to talk about the revisions we made as a result of our study session. Mariana?
Thank you, General Manager Macy, President Sewell. The updates to the employee handbook requested at last Thursday's study session have been incorporated. Rule 35 has been updated. You now have the most recent update to the employee handbook, Exhibit A. I can share my screen if there is a particular rule that you would like to go over. Are there any questions?
Any questions from the board? Director Martin? Director Meyerhoffen?
Yeah. I've said this before, that when I come in here and I get the information at the last, I got 5 pages here of 6 pages. So I'm not going to go along with it.
Oriana, would you be able to speak on the changes from Thursday to today's?
Yes. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can.
The updates. So the first one was, here we are, to Rule 35. We changed the word from marijuana to THC, and we finally settled on the psychoactive cannabis metabolites. So from Thursday to now, those were the updates. And that was about it. That is it.
Okay, so the 5 pages you received, it was just the change to Rule 35, Section 3.
Can we save a tree? Because it was already in here, wasn't it? From last time?
No, that was
Oh, it changed?
incorporated.
And it was included in the revised packet that was sent out either Thursday, late Thursday or early Friday.
Director Duff, any questions or comments?
Thank you for being open to the discussion last Thursday and for the changes that you made to more closely mirror the law as it's written. I am fine with moving forward, but I may have some further questions on Rule 35 in its entirety that we can discuss at a future date. Thank you so much.
Vice President Griffin? Do we have any members of the public wishing to speak on item 15?
President Sewell, not online.
Right. And with that, do we have a motion for resolution 2024-18?
So move.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Director Martin and a second from Vice President Griffith. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
No.
Director Duff,
Aye.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith.
Aye.
President Sewell.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passes.
thank you. Item 16, contract agreement with Premier Property Preservation LLC for annual janitorial services for fiscal year 2024-2025. It is recommended that the general manager be authorized to approve a 1-year contract agreement with Premier Property Preservation LLC titled Annual Janitorial Services for 2024-2025 in the amount of $34,320 plus a 10% contingency for a total of $37,752. The agreement can be extended for 2 additional years and negotiated at a revised price if necessary. The not to exceed amounts are $37,752 for fiscal years 2024-25, 2025-26, and 2026-27. General Manager?
Thank you, President Sewell. Director of Operations Danny Friend gave a presentation on Thursday. There were, I believe, no additional questions, but just for clarification, as you said, this is a contract for 3 years. And each one of these years would be renewed as long as the new janitorial service contractor was able to meet our expectations. We did do a job walk with them to make sure that they understood what we were asking for. The significant changes from this year, or this current year to the upcoming year, is the fact that we removed disinfectant at our locations 2 times a week, but we added the Nancy Wright facility as one of our facilities. So if there's any additional questions, either myself or Danny's available for any.
Thank you. Director Martin, question or comment? Director Myhoff? Director Duff?
Only just what I was talking about on Thursday, just to bring up one last time, if any of our staff had any concerns during colder flu season, that maybe they need to increase disinfectant services to, I think with the 10% contingency, we would have the ability to do that on an as-needed basis, correct?
Director Duff, yes, we could do that. We normally use that also for any time that somebody does make us aware that they are sick, have determined that they're positive for one thing or another. So we'll either take their office and do a complete sweep or where they've been.
Perfect.
Yes, we can do that as well.
That's all I needed to make sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Vice President? All right. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Do we have any members of the public wishing to speak on item 16?
President Sewell, not online.
Thank you. Do we have a motion for the item?
I will move.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Aye.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
President Sewell.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 17, Public Water and Sewer Systems Construction Agreements for Tract 32030-3, Skyborn Village 3. It is recommended to approve the public water and sewer systems construction agreements for the Skyborn Village 3, tract number 30230-3, residential development project, and authorize the general manager to do all things necessary to complete the agreements. General Manager.
Thank you, President Sewell. We did give a presentation on this item on Thursday. Manager of Engineering, Eric Weck, is also available for any questions that you may have, but there are no changes from what we presented on Thursday.
Okay. Any questions or comments, Director Duff? Vice President? Director Martin?
Nope.
Director Meyerhoffen? And do we have any members of the public wishing to speak on item 17?
President Sewell, not online.
Do we have a motion for the item?
So move.
I'll second.
With a motion and a second, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Aye.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
President Sewell.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 18, award of contract to MWH Constructors Incorporated for construction management and inspection services for Skyborn Village 3, Lennar Homes. It is recommended that the general manager be authorized to execute a contract agreement with MWH Constructors Incorporated for construction management and inspection services for Skyborn Village 3, Lennar Homes, for an amount not to exceed $285,572. General Manager.
Thank you, President Sewell. The item before you is related to our inspection services related to the construction of water and sewer within right-of-way of Village 3 at Skyborn. Eric Weck, our engineering manager, gave a presentation on Thursday outlining the project itself and what was included. As we talked about, this is only inside the right-of-way. That was one of the questions. Anything outside the right-of-way will be done as a separate contract and either be a combination of ourselves, the landscape architect, or yet another, maybe possibly MWH if we don't have the time or the resources. But in reality, this is a complete 100% reimbursable project that's going to be paid. Everything you see here under contract, even though we're holding the contract, will be reimbursed to us by the developer. So with that, Eric and myself are available for any questions.
Director Martin? Director Milo? Director Duff? Any members of the public wishing to speak on item 18?
President Sewell, not online.
Thank you. And with that, do we have a motion to approve the item?
So moved.
I'll take a second.
We have a motion by Vice President Griffith and a second, Director Martin. With that, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Aye.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
President Sewell.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Item 19, contract agreement renewal with Intelisys Communications Services for information technology professional services. It is recommended to authorize the general manager to enter into a contract with Intelisys Communications Services for information technology professional services for the 12-month period of July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025, and do all things necessary to execute the agreement. General Manager.
Thank you, President Sewell. I will ask our Director of Finance, Arturo Ceja, to give this presentation. I believe that we also have the contractor online as well.
Thank you, General Manager Macy and President Sewell and members of the board. On Thursday, I did provide a presentation and recommendation of Intellisys to continue their services for another year, and here to provide additional information on what they have done in the last 6 months and the plan for the next few months for the 12 months coming with Intellisys is Aaron Betts with Intellisys Communications.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity to be here. May I share my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Let me know if you can see it.
Yes, we can.
Great. So just wanted to highlight a couple of items that we have done for the district since taking over the support of the IT services in February. Since February 1st, we have received a total of 171 service order requests. These are requests from members or staff of the district, and we have completed 168 of those with a mean time to resolution on those requests of about 6.5 hours over the February to May timeframe. The type of work that we have been seeing is greatly user support. So that is any type of request that a staff member of the district has with their technology or programs that they are using. As far as the priority of those requests, the majority of those, 135 of the total, are standard priority. We've had a few that needed immediate attention, and are proud to say that we have upheld our SLA for those requests. Some of the current and completed projects that we have done for the district include an environmental monitoring for the IT room. This ensures that the temperature and humidity for the IT equipment, the main IT servers, is within a pre-approved range, and we will be notified if it gets out of range to ensure that that the equipment is running optimally. We have completed a multi-factor authentication for the access to the servers. This basically allows a secondary challenge for somebody trying to access the server. So not just a password, but also a token of sorts. We have completed the new plant's network setup and configuration that came online. And we have instigated a file system monitoring. So to monitor for new files, to ensure that rogue files are not being created within the system, the district systems. Upcoming projects include server hardware upgrades to ensure that the servers for the district are running optimally. The current servers are reaching end of life for the span of the equipment. So we are ensuring that the servers will continue to run optimally. Network hardware replacement. We are looking to replace the hardware that manages the network infrastructure to ensure that the latest firmwares, which include security patches and vulnerability mitigations, are in place. And we are looking to re-architecture the design of the network for improved security and isolation of the network traffic. We are migrating the mail protection to a new service to give enhanced protection for the mail for the staff of the district. And we are in the process of rolling out a multi-factor authentication for the access of the computers and network systems for all end users and staff of the district. Welcome any questions.
Director Martin? Director Meyerhoffen?
No.
Director Duff? Vice President? I guess my one and only is just the contract is for basically labor and wouldn't include the cost of these hardware upgrades we're doing.
Correct. Those have been included in the budget as part of the budget process.
Okay, great. With that, do we have any members of the public wishing to speak on item 19?
President Sewell, not online.
Thank you for your presentation, Aaron. Do we have a motion to approve?
So move.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Aye.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
President Sewell.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you for the opportunity.
thank you. Item 20, award of contract agreement with Trimble for work order and asset management software subscription and support services. It is recommended to authorize the general manager to execute a 3-year contract with Trimble Incorporated for work order and asset management software subscription and support services in the amount of $139,584, plus a 10% contingency for a total of $153,542.40, and authorize the general manager to do all things necessary to complete the project.
Thank you, President Sewell. I'll ask our Director of Finance, Arturo Sea, to give a short presentation, as well as we do have our consultant available as well.
Thank you, General Manager Macy and President Sewell and members of the board. On Thursday, I did provide a little bit of background about this essential contract that we do need for the implementation of the work order and asset management system. That's a component of the bigger project with Timmons Group. We did provide that contract for your review, so you can see what sections of that Trimble is in charge of. And here to give a short presentation is Jared Garbott with Trimble.
Good afternoon. Thank you, everyone here and the board. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Did everybody see that okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we've been through an RFP process, and CityWorks was selected along with Timmons to provide this work order management system. And it is a district-wide platform, really a mission-critical product that will provide all work orders generated for the district, preventive maintenance, reactive maintenance, service requests, and so forth regarding the system as well as the plants. Within it is the ability to do a condition assessment and monitoring, asset management, which is to figure out which pipelines, which pieces of equipment need to be replaced and when, and how much money to budget in order to do so. Along with that is also the ability to pull in risk management, which is the ability to analyze multi-factor pieces of information about each asset to look at it from a risk perspective. And then I'm going to put Brian and Lee on the spot here. I'm going to show you an executive dashboard, which brings up live and mapped locational costs, something that anyone can access within the district without being a user of the system, that will give an executive overall picture of what's going on in the district. So everything's within an asset registry in GIS, which you already have. And this project is to bolster your GIS, get it up and running into a utility network. And we're going to be working with that as the asset repository. One of the things that this really does, and I heard some of the discussion about people aging out in retirement and so forth, is that when you use a system like this, it retains data. That historical information that walks out the door when you don't have a system like that will be part of your DNA within the district. In other words, all of those maintenance activities, all of the tribal knowledge, so to speak, about your system can be retained in the system for the new hires that come in. And obviously, we're going to reduce paper and expand that digital record keeping. So on the work order side, users are presented with dashboards. These dashboards can be interactive lists of work assigned to each individual. There's also a mobile component that works offline in the field, showing everyone their locations for work orders. And then they can drill down into the exact location for those, add their costs, labor costs, equipment costs, material costs, and so forth, and start getting a historical aspect of everything that they're doing for each asset. So it's not just activity tracking, how much are we spending? We're figuring out where we're spending it, why we're spending it, and then starting to run reports on that. And we're going to start off with the new plant. And this is where you're going to have the ability to have your systems, your processes mapped, your different disciplines in a hierarchy, and then all the equipment that sits in each individual building and its relationship with each other. And in the future, you even have the capability to go into BIM models, 3D BIM models. As you can see, there's up in the right corner, a pump station showing the different pumps and stairways, lights, doors, walls, all of that can be done with LiDAR. That's something down in the future, but I wanted to let you know that that's a capability and where the industry is really going. Inspection management. So I mentioned condition monitoring. Each time somebody approaches an asset, they can assess the condition of it based on any variable that the district deems necessary for doing that condition assessment. And what happens with that, that allows you to get into that asset management side that I spoke of, and I got another screen on that. It also provides workload management so that it's easy for supervisors to delve out work to different crews and individuals. It helps with efficiency so that they can maybe regionalize those assignments and so forth. This is where the risk assessment comes in. I can see the riskiest assets. When I have that based on condition, based on its proximity, how much pressure is going through it, the size of the pipe, and so forth, it develops a risk profile. And then you can put together and manage those a little bit better, take a different approach to maintenance and operations, maybe put pressure monitors on those with data-driven decision-making. Once that system's assessed through the work order system, you can see that there's some guidelines here and graphs showing in red the worst of the assets that we have based on some criteria that we're looking at, a high risk as well as the lowest condition index of those assets. All of this information can be mapped and showing everyone where we need to do capital improvement, where we need to do rehab, and so forth. There's also a storeroom inventory component where all materials management takes place and can be used within the system to cost out the materials on each of those work orders. Then this is that interactive report that I was talking about, and I'm just going to go into a live dashboard of something like that. Here's a list of, just as a dashboard, just hitting a URL that's served out to either the public or just internally on the intranet. And you can get a snapshot of what's going on, what's active right now, what's overdue, how much have I spent, what's the status of the work orders, and then they can jump to each individual one and look at details if need be, and look at the costs associated with those. This is one that I like, and this is City of Biloxi, and this is a citywide system. I know you're a district, but they have a bunch of different departments. So if you have different divisions that you want to start to slice into different sectors for reporting, we can go to water for here and watch the map. As I do this, I click on the water division, and it's going to give me their metrics. This is the last month of work orders, the total costs, how many they completed, what was labor, material, and equipment. This is live real data from the customer. And then even deeper, they could go in and see the different council areas and which board members responsible for those and get data on that. This could also be ward driven, district driven as well. But all of this is really the KPI, the key performance metrics that the district wants to see. So all of that at the end of the day is going to roll up into reporting, and then they can bring this inside of the meeting and pull this up when there are questions about rehab and so forth and the things that you want to look at. So that's my presentation, and I appreciate the time that you've given me.
Thank you. Any questions or comments, Director Martin? Director Meyerhoffen? Director Duff?
I think our staff is very, very excited. Thank you.
Vice President Cooper.
This is awesome software.
Yeah, it looks great. A question that I have is just the contracts for the software and your support, but it's going to be on staff to get all of our data and everything kind of input into the system. Is there going to be specific people doing that, or is all of our staff going to be trained to be able to, I mean, it sounds like a big kind of undertaking.
We are including everyone in the district. This is going to impact every one of us because it's going to have impact on payroll. It's going to have impact on overtime, impact on the front office. Right now, when the field service employees come in and get a list of those work orders to go out and do their job, by the time they get to the second home, it's already outdated. With this kind of information, they're going to have that information in front of them live that they can help them navigate and go to those properties. So it's going to involve everyone. And we do have a plan of action to train everyone as we go through this. And as you remember, also one of the new positions that we had the last 2 years was a GIS specialist that we are looking to, we've offered the position and we're waiting for that person to be onboarded. So they're going to be the key person that does a lot of that data gathering and implementation, but also the training while implementing it for the entire district.
Great. And do you have a rough estimate of when you think all this will kind of be up and running?
We just had a meeting with Timmons not too long ago where the timeline was pushed down from about 20 months to 7 months. So this is going to be the priority of that project now because it's something we can push out to the employees faster as opposed to all of the other different aspects of putting that project together. So we're looking at something in the next 7 months.
Great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Director Martin?
Yeah, the gentleman touched on it previously, but I want to make clear that moving forward, I would hope that all documentation referred to district or water district rather than city works. I don't want to confuse the public when they're reviewing this. So if we could make sure that that happens, it refers to district or divisions within the district, water district. Okay.
Anything further from the board? Director Meyerhoffen?
How were you able to go from, what was it, 20 months to 7 months?
We're changing the scope of the project. We were going to start with each department, collecting the data, then cleaning it up. And as we went along, implementing the wish list of that employee or that group of employees, where we can go out there and grab something that's already been vetted by other districts, get that shell, put it together, and then just start cleaning up the data that we need right away and put it in and putting it in there. And as you heard, we're going to start with the regional plan. We have nothing cleaner than the regional plan because nothing needs maintenance as of right now. And so we can easily map that and then go from there.
So we're still going to spend the same amount of money, even though the district made it easier for the company?
The scope of the project is going to remain the same. They're just switching how we're starting to collect that information and putting it together into the program. So the work is not going to be less by any means. We're just changing how we're approaching the project.
So never mind.
Anything further?
One quick question, and I don't know if this software would be responsible for it, but on occasion, I know we've been asked by developers if we can provide maps of things that are available or potentially working with the city, they may need to see something. Is this going to make that easier to be able to communicate with these outside parties, or is this only if they have the software would this work?
No, this is going to also, we're looking to see if this is going to be better or maybe another type of software, but we are going to open the information to our customers. We do get a lot of questions right now, but when a new property owner wants to build something and what is available in the area and what type of services we can provide, we can easily point them out to now a map, but we're looking at that and it's either going to be this, which makes more sense to do simply because of everything that's entailed. If we can send someone out there and collect all the data from the beginning of installation to, later on, it's going to make more sense for us to do it.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for the presentation, Jared. Do we have any members of the public wishing to speak on item 20?
President Sewell, not online.
All right. Do we have a motion for item 20?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Aye.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
and President Sewell.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passes.
thank you. And thank you, Arturo. Item 21, board member affiliation listing. It is recommended to approve the updated board affiliation listing. And you'll see page 396, we had a couple slight changes from Thursday, but do we have any further discussion or questions? Did we have anything from staff? Sorry.
No, I don't believe so. Anything that we heard on Thursday and we could incorporate, we have. So at this point, we're really looking for board's direction, whether you have additional questions or if you'd like to move forward with the item.
Right. Any questions, Director Martin? Director Maya?
Oh, one thing.
Mhm.
This takes effect to July 1st.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Director Maya?
This is kind of upsetting to me. I know that the president has authority to give meetings out. Last year, I didn't get anything. Here I am with two. Just one individual here getting six. What I'm really, I keep wondering why. I'm not getting any of these meetings really that concerned with water. I've got two, I've got six. I've come to the conclusion that my time with the city, my college education relates to water, and being elected by the people to represent them here, that the board just has no value of me being here. So I'll continue to be here. You wrote the story. If I repeat what's going on here in public, remember that's transparency. That is not a rumor.
And I'll just respond to that briefly. I think you're speaking to Vice President Griffin, it looks like is the sixth. I would just say the legislative representation is maybe a little misleading since it has it broken down more. But similarly, your planning commission is a monthly where a lot of Vice President Griffin's representation for our legislative committee is an annual. So I think if you remember back to January, I tried to do my best to split these meetings equally, and it is approved by the five of us. So do we have any?
Well, hold on. It's approved by the five of us. You haven't voted yet.
Well, this will be voted by the board. It's not my end-all decision.
Whatever. I'm telling you, it's not fair. I gave you my thoughts on it. And
Thank you. Director Duff?
I just want to publicly clarify a couple things. Director Meyerhoffen, I apologize that you feel that way, and I want to acknowledge your feelings, but you've been appointed to participate on subcommittees in Aqua. You have been appointed to participate in projects, and you have, after your appointment, please let me finish. After your appointment, you then decided that was a misunderstanding or whatever the reasons were, and you negated those obligations. I'm trying to remain calm because I find it very offensive at what you said, because I work very, very hard, as do the other members of this board. And I understand that you want to be included in more of these. But every time you do, you come back saying it's either not worth it, not valuable, or that you don't want to do it anymore. So that's my opinion.
I've heard enough.
And I'm able to voice that. But I want the public to understand that you have declined to participate in multiple things.
That is a lie. That's a false statement. I never asked to be put on the Aqua for the agricultural committee. We don't have any agriculture here in Desert Hot Springs. And that's why I decided not to do it. I was put on there by somebody else. I didn't ask for it.
I wasn't done. Can I finish?
Oh yeah, please.
I wasn't asking your permission. I was
Yes.
asking our president's permission.
Oh.
So I think that the other comment I wanted to make to not allow any further distraction with the nonsense is that I want to commend our board for having these difficult conversations in an effort to ensure that we are being responsible to our ratepayers as to what we attend and why, and the funds the district spends to send us to these things. So I wanted to commend those of the board members who chose to participate in those conversations. I've heard over and over at multiple of the outside organizations' budget discussions at how hard this is for them to discuss and how uncomfortable it is. But irregardless, I just wanted to appreciate the time that our board took to have that discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President, oh,
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna just finish and then we can circle back to Vice President Griffith.
Yeah, I want to clarify a couple things. One, the reason that this was brought up was because there was some confusion as to what people can attend and get compensated for and what they cannot. There was no redo of the affiliation list. There was no reassignment of meetings. What it was a clarification. We voted to give ourselves raises. And in looking at everything we do and looking at being fiscally responsible, we as a board decided to take a look and see what makes sense for us all to attend and what is more cost efficient for only one or two of us to attend. That's the purpose of this. Nothing was reorganized, nothing was reassigned or anything. It was just some things were limited, whereas before, for example, DVBA, everybody could go and get compensated. Now it's just the designated member. Same thing with the BIA. As far as my 6 assignments, I have 2 extra meetings a month aside from my board meetings. 2, not 6.
I never said 6. You did. Director Duff has 6.
I'm just saying. So I go once a year, and what I do is I go and I advocate on behalf of the district. This is not a reassignment, and the reassignment we usually do in December. This is just clarifying what we will get compensated and who will get compensated for in the interest of trying to maintain some fiscal integrity. So.
Director Martin?
Yeah, I just want to point out, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but we as board members can attend virtually every single meeting. It's just that we can't get compensated for some. So there are things that I'm not assigned to, but I want to go because I think it's important that I go. And the district still pays for any fee associated with getting in. It's just that you don't get a stipend for it. The second thing is I believe it's item since it's item 21. I don't have that in my binder.
397.
It's under, originally it was under 19. Yeah.
397.
Originally it was under item 19.
Okay. I just wanted to see if I.
Director Martin, those items were loose on the dais when you arrived.
Is it under your binder?
Maybe. We can lift that binder up.
They're still under there.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. That's all I have. Thank you.
Did you have anything further?
Yes. I feel guilty about going to the planning commission meeting. When I was a planning commissioner, I never took the $100 stipend. When I was a public safety commissioner, I didn't either. So Director Duff, I hope you feel good about that 2.5 hour Zoom meeting that you're getting $250 for.
And I'll just ask, can we try not to do personal attacks? It's one thing.
She started it, I didn't.
I think we'll agree to disagree. Any further discussion? Do we have any members of the public wishing to speak on item 21?
President Sewell, not online.
And with that, I'm open for a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
No.
Director Duff,
Aye.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
President Sewell.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passes.
thank you. Discussion items. Item 22, Nancy Wright, Regional Water Reclamation Facility Update. General Manager.
Yes, thank you, President Sewell. We have Terry Renner on the line representing TKE, who is our construction manager on the project. Terry, would you like to give us a short presentation?
Yes, I will. Thank you, General Manager Macy. Good afternoon, President Sewell, members of the board. I have shared my screen. Is everybody able to see that?
Yes.
All right, we'll get going here. So with our update this month, we are mainly working on, or the contractor's mainly working on the punch list items. Punch list items are items that are flagged during construction that need to be either modified or repaired to be brought up to the standards of the specifications. So all of these items are related to that. For the headworks unit, the contractor was preparing or modifying the lining inside the manholes and just completing the upper lining at the rim of the manholes. On the left side there, on the right side, we had some repair required to the actuator valves for the slide unit. At the SBR tank, we were fixing some of the penetrations, pipe penetrations within the walls, and then also just some of the repair to some of the concrete itself. Just minor visual repairs, nothing of any substantial or structural requirement. Also within the SBR tank, the contractor was fixing some of the epoxy lining on the submerged valves. And then on the right side, the mixing unit itself was sucking too hard or pushing too hard, and it was pulling its own wiring down into the unit. So they had to make some repairs on how that wiring was being suspended. Within the WQMP infiltration basin, the contractor finalized the headworks unit, put all the concrete in for the riprap and installed the riprap itself on the head wall. And then they also did hydroseeding along the base. We had our contractor finalize all the site grading. This is both within the basins and just the miscellaneous areas within the site. And then on the right side, contractors installing the pond access road. Our security fencing was finally installed, and the site is now fully secured. And both those pictures are representing fence installation. Just as a note, the picture on the right, so those fence posts were cut down to size. That's a standard process. They install the fence post a little tall, and then they finalize them, cut them down to size, and put a cap on them. So that's not the final product there. Around the site, we also had the removable bollards and lockable bollards installed, and then the parking lot striping and the ADA striping was installed. So within the operations building, the vestibule liners were installed. These are the areas where it's basically the wind protection areas. And those are just interior liners, more of a aesthetics requirement, nothing to do with actual wind protection. Around the operations building, the door contact units were installed. These are for a security system to identify or notify people of when doors are open. We had our site security cameras installed, and then finalizing the wiring that went to the network towers on the right side. Around the inside of the unit, so they were doing some testing on the eye wash station. I would not want to volunteer for that testing. That was completed, and then also we had some touch-up work with the paint. And finally, inside the operations building, the belt filter press unit, so they did some fine-tuning on that to make sure that the delivery system of the cake units that are provided from the plant itself are properly disposed and land on the belt filter press. The contractor did demobilize now all of their major equipment. So last month we had talked about them pulling off their actual trailer. So now all their major equipment is gone. They do still have members on site doing some minor punch list work, and they have some small equipment on site still. For our funding and permitting update, we have our reimbursement request. So for our 2023 Q4 invoice, the state did reach out on that one and requested some additional information as of last Friday. They are just requesting a couple of backup documents for some reimbursables that were spent by the design engineer of record. And so we're working to get those records to them so that they can process Q4 invoice. For our 2024 Q1 report and invoice, those are in progress and are due to be submitted before the deadline of 6:30. On our WDR special provision, so our monitoring well number 3, our Q2 update to the Regional Water Quality Control Board is due by 7:15, and we are on schedule to have that turned in on time. For the sampling of the private wells, our well access agreement was completed, fully signed and by all parties. So that is 100% complete there. And then we're just working with the state to finalize the work plan and get their review and approval on that. For phase 2, the conveyance line, our FBA, the state is actually engaged with us now. So they have reached out. I think we talked about this briefly last month. They have reached out and requested an RFI. That information was submitted to them. And Director Duff, you had requested last month an explanation or I guess further details about that response or that RFI. And just to clarify what that was, so they had requested information on the contractor's DBEs and the good faith efforts that the contractor performed for the contract itself. So we did give them the additional backup that they were looking for, and they were also requesting an additional form be submitted. The form was, it was not applicable to the project, but they just asked us to essentially write not applicable on it and submit the form. So just to give you an update on what those items were. And then for phase 3, our area M2 sewer, that final bidding package was completed and has been submitted to the State Water Resource Quality Control Board for approval. So they are in the process of looking through that and then giving us their thumbs up so that we can get that out to bid. And with that, I'll turn it over to questions.
Thank you, Terry. Any questions, Director Duff?
Thank you for this report and thank you for answering my questions from last time. I appreciate you following through with that. 2 small questions. Actually, I don't have a question any longer because of your answer, but I do have a comment about what I'm witnessing at the construction project next door. Have you had any complaints or had any problems with any of our equipment, given the severe grading and dust that's leaving the construction site from the construction site next door? Are you guys kind of monitoring that and notifying them if it's affecting us in any way?
We have not had any complaints. We're not monitoring that. Our inspection staff has been limited out there just because of the work being nearly complete. So
I'm sorry, let me clarify. The work that's being done, do you have any of the contractors or employees there complaining about the dust from the other construction site? They're doing a large amount of grading. And I've actually driven over to the site a couple times because of the plumes that I'm seeing in that area. And I just was wondering if it's affecting any of our equipment or if any of the employees there have complained.
no, so currently we've had no complaints on that, and
Okay.
we've had no notification that it's affecting any equipment.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Vice President Griffith?
No.
Director Martin?
Yeah, just for clarification, a lot of, I don't know whether it's a requirement of the city or, but a lot of construction sites require that they be sprayed with water to keep the dust and stuff down. Is that something that we're doing out there as well?
Yes, so our construction is responsible for PM10 requirements, and for anything within our construction, it is being sprayed prior to keep the dust on our site only.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
Director Meyerhoffen?
Yes, I think, well, a lot of that dust is coming from over there on Indian and by the freeway. When I look across the desert, you can see very light, and I look back at the Desert Hot Springs, I can see it. So it's everywhere. My question is, I've been asking now for quite a while, the landscape plan out in front, I'm still looking at heat islands, and we're almost done with this project. We should have some kind of a landscaping plan out front.
The landscaping plan stayed very similar to what it was before. We simply changed out some of the vegetation to make sure that it was drought tolerant and specific to this region.
Really? What did you just tell me? As it was just before. We still have heat islands I'm looking at. So you're right. It is as it was before. Why have I not seen a actual landscape plan of what you're putting in there? How big it is, why? And I see here heat islands.
Yep.
We don't want any more heat islands. Why am I still looking at it?
We can provide you with a copy of what we submitted to the contractor with the changes that were made when we went through the landscaping revisions.
Thank you.
And just one small question, I'm gonna try and make some lemonade maybe out of lemons. Has the delay with the conveyance line helped find out some of these like smaller bugs, working out these little details? You mentioned some small fixes going on at the plant. Would that have been harder if we were already up and running, or I guess has that helped out at all, having the extra time?
I guess it's helped the conveyance line contractor more than anything. If the conveyance line would have needed to be on schedule, I think this contractor would have been on schedule as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Item 23, Critical Services Center and Administration Building Update.
Thank you, President Sewell. We have a representative from our architect on the line. Well, there he is, Alvin Flores from Renault Clark. Alvin?
Thank you, General Manager Macy. Good afternoon, President Sewell, members of the board, and district staff. As an update from last month, I know I mentioned that the city gave us a checklist to work off of. So I'll start sharing my screen. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Perfect. And again, we had a preliminary meeting with the city early on, and they gave us a good overall idea of what they would require as we go into planning submittal. From that initial meeting to the last time we met with them, they came up with a more formalized pre-application checklist that they provided to us. And as of now, nothing was really different. It just was more official. And most of this we already had handled via the design documents. So we've just been going through this. And one of the items that was noted there that wasn't on the checklist was a rendered site plan. That was something that the city mentioned is nice to have in terms of being able to explain the overall design, some of the aesthetics, the colors, the planting, and various materials that would be implemented on the site. And while we were waiting on some of the other reports to be done, we went ahead and started working up one of those. So this is that in progress as of now. And I think this maybe is a little bit easier to read than some of the previous plans that I showed you in terms of the overall landscaping concept, where a lot of that landscaping will be. Again, this isn't in full detail just yet, especially when it comes to the demonstration gardens. That wasn't something that's required for the planning submittal, so we're continuing to work on those. But again, this gives a good overall idea of what's going on. One of the code items that we've been looking at is shading for the site, especially in the parking areas. So I know I mentioned last time shading at the visitor parking here. The staff parking in the back will be shaded with future solar panels. Also here really quick, on top of the shading, speaking of heat island from previous meetings and then in this meeting as well, we're exploring various ways to address that. So one of them is with vegetation. Another one is with lighter colored materials. In the case of concrete, that works out fairly well. We can always go with something with a little bit more reflectance. Asphalt is a little bit trickier, but as mentioned in previous meetings, there are various pavement options. So right now what we're looking more into is a high albedo asphalt paving that'll help give a little bit more reflectance and hopefully reduce a little bit of that heat. Outside of that plan, as of last week, we received the soils report. Our team is going through that and implementing that information into the plans and into subsequent reports, so that way we can get all of that ready for city submittal. The soils report came, or the geotech came back that there's nothing in the report findings that preclude this project from moving forward. So that was very good information. And then next item that I'd like to bring up is just the general planning submittal, not quite schedule, but just the various milestones that we're looking at as we move forward. So the Planning Commission submittal is been the various documents that I've been showing the last couple of months, along with the various reports that are being finalized right now. So after that gets submitted, we'll give the city some time. They'll give us a round of comments. We'll resubmit. After that, we're looking to receive a completion letter. And from that completion letter, there'll be an advertising period of 10 days. And then that'll be prior to the Planning Commission meeting, and then final planning approval. Currently, we are tracking to finish the design documents this week, and as long as all the reports and all the other findings come in quickly, we're hoping that next week we'll do a quick QC, and from there get that submitted into the city, and then kind of follow this plan moving forward. So that's all I have at the moment. So any questions or comments?
Thank you, Alvin. Any questions, Director Martin? Nope. Director Meyerhoff?
Yes, I'd just like to say that I think you're doing a great job. I know I've been kind of hard on you with some of these questions, and you can only answer those questions with what information is provided to you by the district. So I didn't want to discredit you in any way. I've been meaning to say that the last couple of meetings.
Understood. Thank you.
I don't know, I guess I wouldn't have any interest in what plants are being put here. I don't see any outdoor seating either. Do I see any outdoor seating?
There are benches scattered throughout here. I can zoom in a little bit more. So yeah, we're not showing all of those. Underneath this area will be a covered patio that'll have furniture. We're not really showing that furniture yet, but the idea is that there will be scattered pieces of exterior furniture throughout the site, mostly in shaded areas.
There'll be a table for our employees to sit down if they want to have lunch or take their laptop out there and work.
Correct.
That's what I'm concerned with.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of a lot of ground cover, I love the trees because the trees give shade. And then you spend less water on your ground cover because they're in the shade. So I would like to see some kind of bark or organic matter put in there. And I don't want to hear about how it blows away because I've been doing tests out in the wind on my own house. And there's a couple of planning commissioners that seem to be in agreement with me. So I hope that wherever these heat islands are, that you can take care of those. I thank you.
Thank you. Director Duff, questions or comments?
Great work. I again compliment you for listening to everything we've said. We keep giving you laundry lists every time we talk, but it's really nice seeing this come together, and it's addressing so many issues in one fell swoop. So we really appreciate that. And let us know when and where you need us. Thank you.
Vice President?
I have nothing to add.
And I have nothing further. Happy to see the progress. Thank you very much, Alvin.
One quick point before we move on to the next item. Adam, Alvin, I think you're good. I just wanted to make sure that we've gotten the board what they've asked for. In previous meetings, one of the things that was asked for was a traffic study. I received the traffic study that was done for the intersection last week. So we'll be able to provide that to the board, both the traffic study as well as our the changes of count that's expected if we were to locate at this location. So I can send both of those out after this meeting, in addition to the landscaping for the regional plan. I just want to know if there's anything else that you would like to see as we get ready for submission to the Planning Commission.
No, anything further from the board?
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of 4 items this month. Item 24, approval of minutes. Item 25, register of demands. The register of demands totaling $4,183,241.80. Item 26, resolution 2024-17, notice of general district election, November 5th, 2024, and establishment of deposit for optional candidate statement. It is recommended to adopt resolution number 2024-17 and authorize the district secretary to notify the county registrar of voters that the offices of 3 members of the board are to be filed and that candidates will be responsible for costs associated with the candidate statement. And item 27, resolution 2024-19, opposing ballot initiative 1935. It is recommended to approve resolution 2024-19, taking an opposing position on ballot initiative 1935. Are there any of these 4 items that anyone would like to pull and discuss separately?
I'd like to move consent calendar.
All right, we have a motion and a second. So motion is Vice President Griffith, second is Director Duff. And with that, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Aye.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
President Sewell.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passes.
thank you. Reports, item 28, Director's Report. Anyone like to go first?
I'll go.
All right, Director Martin?
Okay. Relatively busy month. On the 2nd, Desert Valley Builders Association legislative meeting. It's always a well-attended meeting in the morning with representatives from local, county, and state officials present. The 7th through the 9th, attended the Aqua Conference in Sacramento, attended groundwater committee meeting, the water management committee meeting, finance committee, legal affairs committee, policy forum, region 9 committee, and region issues forum. On the 13th, Desert Valley Builders Association board meeting. Nothing much to report there. Went over the budget. That's about it. On the 21st, city council meeting. 2 officers, police officers, were honored for saving lives. One was saving the life of somebody who drowned in a swimming pool, and another one was the saving an individual who was overdosing on fentanyl. They also went over delinquent disposal billings on the county tax roll. And then there was a couple of budget adjustments. On the 16th, Riverside County countywide oversight board meeting. I attended that. On the 16th also, Desert Valley Builders Association networking night, well attended. On the 20th, Cabot's Museum Foundation board meeting. Nothing more to report there. I think we did approve the financial reports. On the 23rd, Rotary Big Heart Awards. Congratulations to Mission Springs Water District Hillary Response Team, Chad Finch, Tim Owens, Lorenzo Soto, and Mark Vermeer. I did not know until that meeting up there that they had worked as long as a 26-hour shift one time. I don't know that I could do that at my advanced age, Robert, but they were very, very, very impressive, very outstanding. They deserve that acknowledgement. On the 27th, attended the Memorial Day event. It was a great turnout, and it was, as usual, there was a very impressive flyover of vintage aircraft over the Park to honor our fallen heroes. On 5:30, Desert Hot Springs Fire Station groundbreaking that took place at Hacienda and Long Canyon Road. I'm really glad to see that that's happening because um, the east side of the city was, it impacted the response time for emergency services because there was no station on the east side. Now there is, so that's a good thing, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Director Meyerhoffen?
Yes. I attended the morning insights, Club Morning Insights. They had a very good presentation there on AI. And then I attended the CV GAN meeting, and it was a nice get together, and there was some good information as far as tourism about our hot water and how tourists come and to enjoy our hot water and how valuable it is to tourism. That's about it. Oh, see it down here. Planning Commission meeting. Guess I report on that one too, huh? It wasn't well out there. There were not feeling too good today, but there wasn't too much there to report on. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Duff?
Sorry, like Director Martin, I had a pretty busy month. So we all attended, well, several of us attended Aqua, and as a appointed subcommittee member of 3 different subcommittees, the groundwater, local government, and federal affairs, I attended those committee meetings in person for the first time. So it was really nice to be able to put faces to all of the people I have talked to over Zoom. Also, it was nice to not have a bunch of agendas to prepare for, as it was just a recap of what we were doing so far at those committee meetings. Also attended at Aqua conference, so many finance and fiscal responsibility, building trust, transparency programs, legal programs regarding rate setting, talks regarding consolidation. And I was surprised that Director Martin did not bring it up, so I'm going to steal it from everyone else. We were surprised with a visit from our governor, and I wanted to share something that he stated that I think goes beyond just our big state government, but goes to all the little state governments as well. He acknowledged the need for California to get out of their own way. And that really hit me in a very clear way that, you know, we are the setter for environmental concerns, and we pave the way, but sometimes so much so that we have to get out of our own way to do that. So I just wanted to share Governor's comments.
One thing I want to add to what you're saying, because it was kind of important. He was not a planned speaker, and he did that extemporaneously, and he did a fantastic job.
Very much.
He did a fantastic job.
I also attended 2 of the CVWD board meetings, very busy. They've got a lot of sewer system growth, canal infrastructure, CIP projects. They approved a phase 2 of Cathedral City's Verano project, reported the state water project allotment. They believe that time was coming through at 40%, and I think that is what it's coming through at. Let's see, they also entered into licensing agreements with the State Department of Water Resources to add additional groundwater monitoring stations in their district, discuss their budget. Ready for this one, guys? $553.2 million budget, 570 employees. I don't know that it was 170 pages, just saying. They also had to use 27 million in reserves over this coming budget, and had to do some hard discussions about their rates and et cetera. Increasing some of their canal gate fees and their water and sewer fees to their residential customers and commercial customers by a very small percentage. I also had to sit as substitute for Vice President Griffith on the May 21st DWA board meeting. They discussed in depth the settlement agreement of 2004 with our district, Mission Springs Water District, and that according to their calculations, they are estimating being at ground zero by July in their whitewater aquifer, and that after that point, they will have corrected the over deliveries from their perspective and will be starting to deliver to Mission Creek after July at some point. They also discussed the already voted on last year annual increase of another $20 per acre foot to the rack fee. So this year's rack fee, as it will be impacting our customers, is going to be $215 per acre foot. That fee we pay directly from our ratepayers as a pass-through to DWA. They also stated that they are still going to be in a deficit of 3 million. So, and that they're going to continue this $20 acre foot increase until the year 2930. At that point, at $315 an acre foot, they feel that they will have reached equilibrium. They did mention that CVWD's Mission Creek rack rate is $135.52 in comparison to their $215, with no anticipated changes this year. And let's see. Also attended the MSWD Water Talk at the DHS Library. Vice President Griffith and I were in attendance from our board, and this was first of many coming communications with our community about the changes that the upcoming chromium-6 regulations and PFAS regulations bring to our district. Luckily, we're only really affected by one of those, but the conversation and education to our community is very important. Very proud of those in our those members of our community who showed up. There will be other opportunities, and if anyone has any questions, please reach out to the district. They are the ones who have the accurate information you need, and they are more than happy to share it. The last thing I believe I have, actually, that was it for the month. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President?
Okay, didn't do a lot of meetings, but I did do a lot in those that I did. So I did do the Aqua Conference, did attend the local government committee, as well as the federal affairs committees. Quite a number, a few sessions on rates, rate setting, rate schedules, infrastructure, water infrastructure financing, conservation as a way of life, which we know is a very big deal and will continue to be. So forums on that. Having the keynote, having the governor show up unannounced was really a fantastic thing. It really energized the morning, energized the group, and he did a really, really great job. And so it was probably for me the highlight of the whole thing, of especially the most recent Aqua conferences I've gone to. That was probably the most exciting one. It really could, because sometimes you go to a keynote speaker and after about 20 minutes, you just want to take a nap, but that wasn't the case. So I really enjoyed that. I did do at the end of the month, I also did the fire station groundbreaking along with President Sewell and Director Martin, and also the MSWD Chrome Talk, which was very, very good. But the big thing for us, at least for me, this month was the CSDA legislative days. So it was the have done the DC legislative work, but the CSDA was very different and quite enjoyable. And so you know, sometimes people don't really understand what we do. They think we just go up there and don't do much, but we all got a little packet. So this is our packet. It had full of information. The night before the event, we had to go up the night before because it did start early. We actually ran into Greg Wallace and Senator Becker, and we got to talk one-on-one with them. And the great thing about that was he asked us what we were doing there. We explained why, and he gave us some tips on speaking with legislative staff and kind of how to work with them if you have an opposing viewpoint of what the legislature does. So that was really, really nice to have a nice conversation with him, especially because it wasn't planned. It was just, we just ran into him. So at the CSDA legislative days, the morning we started out hearing from Senator Ana Caballero, Senator Marie Alvarado Gil, and Assemblymember Greg Hart. And then in the afternoon, we did legislative visits. Now, when we go to DC, we're pretty much on our own. In this case, they bulked us with other districts, and which I think was a benefit. We were not with anybody else from the Coachella Valley. So we actually got to we got paired up with Milford Harrison from the San Bernardino Municipal Water District and Pacal Cornejo Reynoso from Eastern Municipal Water District. we didn't meet with our representatives. We did meet with Rosa, I'm gonna screw her name up, I always do. Sarah Couch from Rosalisi Ochoa Bo's office. She is not our current rep, but her district will be our district next year. And also with Michael Adamski from Corey Jackson's office. Again, not our rep, but the nice thing was we went in a group with these other individuals from other municipal water districts, and it basically showed our support as districts, as water districts, that just because you're not our representative doesn't mean that the concerns are not ours or our fellow municipal water districts. So it was a really nice show of force. Nice to get to know these people, have some great conversations in between. There's several legislative priorities to discuss. They gave us, because they're special districts, some of them didn't really apply to us too much. So what we did, because we were water agencies, we focused on the ones that had the most impact. One of them was the climate resilient bond. And so what we were doing is asking to include up to $500 million in this bond to help with infrastructure for the clean feet mandates in terms of the medium and the heavy duty trucks. The big thing for me, AB 2729 and SB 937. So these two bills are very similar in their intent and their impact on not just us, but also cities. What they would do is they would defer payment of development impact fees until the completion of projects, and they would lock those fees in at the rate that would be in effect at the time of the permitting. So you could, in theory, have a developer come forward with a project and lock in a fee today and then not finish that for 10 years. In the interim, we as a district or as cities would have to pay for the infrastructure, install the infrastructure, finance all those costs, and then we would not even be reimbursed the proper costs because there would be a lock on fees. No interest would be charged, anything like that. Now, I do know that one office we were in, they were in favor of that. And so the stance we took was that we would oppose unless amended. And one of the suggestions that we offered was perhaps to put an expiration period, just as you have conditional use permits, which expire after 2 years. And so perhaps you could lock it in for 2 years. And then when you had to re-up, you would go at the new rate. So that was something we've strongly opposed. It will impact us negatively. The other one, AB 2489 and AB 2557, also similar to each other, would burden contractors with regulations requiring extensive reporting, would also require their employees to meet or exceed those of bargaining unit civil service employees. This would severely restrict our ability to use temporary workers. If we needed a project for 6 months, we would, it would increase the cost drastically. So those were some of the things that we do. I know not everybody understands what we do when we go up there to Sacramento or we go to DC, but we actually do go to legislative offices and talk about these bills that are being presented and how they're going to impact us, whether it's favorably or unfavorably. And one of the things we have found is that the staff, legislators and the staff, respond more favorably to the elected officials because we are the voice of the people. And so we're able to tell these stories about how this will negatively impact the ratepayers and what it's gonna, how it's gonna affect the constituents. So I'm very grateful that I got the opportunity to do this. It was, honestly, it was a really fun event. It was long. These days are long. Okay, so they're not little quick things. These are, 10, 12-hour days, but I think that they pay off in the long run because they really do benefit the district. And that was my month.
Thank you. I have just a couple. May 7th through 9th attended the Aqua Conference. Like what was mentioned previously, most of the breakouts I went to were finance related, fiscal sustainability in times of uncertainty, the looming crisis and rate setting. Both were really informative, and I think the common theme is just districts are seeing a loss of revenue, but a continuous rise of expenses. And some really good speakers. I know we connected with one, Sanjay Gwar, that helps with rate studies and things like that. Mesa Water District also spoke. They did a rate study, and I think it was only 2 years before they had to go out and do a second rate study. So he gave a lot of kind of tips and pointers of try and get everything lined up for your first one. You don't want to go back out to the public, 2 years later. Another session I attended was Community Trust Through Transparency, and was happy to hear that just about all of their suggestions we're already implementing here. So I think we're on the right track and a lot of good value out of the Aqua Conference this spring conference. May 22nd, I attended the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce and City of Desert Hot Springs ribbon cutting for Indian Canyon Drive. It was an interesting event. They had a pretty good turnout for just being on the side of a street, but I learned that all of the road repairs that they've done on the major roads, they were able to secure funding from, so it wasn't anything the city had to spend. Also spoke with Brian from TriStar Construction, who handled the Indian Canyon Drive improvements and has done quite a bit of work for us. But he was, well, the repairs and the new infrastructure there looks great. I think it's going to handle a lot more water than what they used to be able to handle there on Indian. But he was mentioning a big challenge was the amount of sediment and debris that they still had, even though the water's come down kind of from what it was earlier. It's more of just a trickle. They're doing multiple truckloads per week of sediment that they're clearing out. So I think, you know, it's a big issue to look out and see all the dust, but it's also affecting a lot of our roadways. But that is all I have. We'll move on to General Manager's report. I believe we have, well, finance report. I think Arturo's been up at the podium enough.
Yes, we incorporated the finance report into the various budget items that we've had. So yes, today would just be the public affairs
I
report.
was kind of looking forward to another 5-hour presentation.
I'm sure we can do that if the board so desires.
Thank you. Good afternoon, President Sewell, members of the board. I have a short PowerPoint that I'd like to share with you today that highlights some of the activities of the Public Affairs Office during the past month. Additional updates are also available in your board packet. Although we did slow down a little bit during the past month, we were still very active within the Desert Hot Springs community. Some of the noteworthy events that I'd like to lift up today include the CSDA Ledge Days, which took place May 21st and May 22nd. The event brought together various special districts in California to address shared public policy challenges. During the event, we met with state legislators, including Assemblymember Greg Wallace, State Senator Josh Becker, Assemblymember Tasha Borner, and the offices of State Senator Rosalie Ochoa Bowe and Assemblymember Corey Jackson. On the local level, I also want to draw your attention to the June 4th Desert Hot Springs City Council meeting, where our very own Carol Morin was honored for her 22 years of service to the district and to our community. As you may recall, Carol retired last month from our Public Affairs Office. Also, I wanted to highlight the 2023 Desert Hot Springs Rotary Big Heart Awards that were held on May 29th. Among the honorees were MSWD's Tropical Storm Hillary Emergency Response Team, who were recognized for their extraordinary efforts during the August 20th storm. The MSWD team included Water Production Supervisor Chad Finch, Field Operations Technician 2, Lorenzo Soto, Wastewater Treatment Plant Operator Mark Vermeer, and Water Production Operator 2, Tim Owens. During the event, staff had the opportunity to meet with representatives from both Congressman Ruiz and Assemblymember Garcia's offices, who were both very impressed with the MSWD's team's contributions during the storm. Another event that I'd like to lift up today is a special partnership between MSWD and the DHS Recreation Center. This summer, the students are learning about water, and what better than to have MSWD come in and present to the students about our very own DHS water resources. So last Wednesday was the first of our 4 presentations MSWD will be providing. The Rec Center students are broken into 2 groups, both an elementary group and then a middle school and high school combined group. The first session focused on our water sources and each group had a presentation from the MSWD team, and then they participated in a hands-on experiment. The younger group replicated the water cycle in a Ziploc bag so they could see how the water cycle works. The older group learned about our aquifer and made models with sand and rocks to mimic the way water percolates down into the aquifer. Both the public affairs team and the students had a great time exploring and learning together. Also, as you may recall, last month, we asked customers for input on our bill presentation. The initiative underscores our commitment to delivering exceptional service and engaging our community and shaping the future. Go ahead. Overall, the feedback was very positive. From the more than 100 customers that participated in the survey, 98% were either neutral or thought that our bill was somewhat appealing. 67% say that our current format is easy to understand. When asked what the most important element to their statement is, more than a third are looking for the current charges or the due date, and another third are interested in their monthly consumption. Lastly, more than 50% feel that the charts and graphics represent. Lastly, more than 50% feel that the charts and the graphic representation are extremely important. The public affairs team is working with the customer service team, which is already planning the statement revamp. As you heard earlier, we started our Desert Hot Springs High School summer internship program last week. The 4 students from the Real Academy are working in our engineering, public affairs, production, and wastewater departments. The students will be here with us for a total of 3 weeks. We'll be featuring them on upcoming social media posts and also in our district publications. This month's customer newsletter is included in your GM report. It features information about our monthly water talks, summer conservation tips, and last month's Big Heart Awards. And while we're talking about our water talks, I did want to mention that last month's talk did feature Chad Seidel from Corona Environmental. The materials from his presentation, including the video of his presentation and a PDF of the slide deck, are available on our website. I've also created a new area called a water quality section that includes a special Chrome 6 Q&A, links to all 3 of the last 3 presentations we've received on the subject, and copies of the PowerPoint presentations. On June 24th, we will also have an in-person presentation from Chris Palmer, who is the Southern California Regional Public Affairs Director for CSDA. Chris will give participants an overview of special districts and how they impact our daily lives. Hopefully we can have a good participation and turnout for that event. And lastly, I wanted to alert you, I'm sorry?
The 24th is a Monday, is that correct?
It's going to be Wednesday.
That would be the 26th then.
26th.
Okay.
Thank you. And lastly, I did want to alert you also to be on the lookout for our annual water quality report, which is currently with the printer. The report, which is published annually before July 1st, is being mailed to all customers. This report includes helpful information about where our drinking water comes from, how we make it safe for its use, the constituents found in the drinking water, and how our water quality compares with regulatory standards. We also include updates and information about the organization and our ongoing projects. To help customers understand the report and what is included, we have a helpful video that we update annually and that we publicize on social media. Here is a preview of that video.
MSWD, we care about our customers. I am a MSWD customer as well as a lot of our employees are members of the community.
To make sure we deliver a safe supply of our award-winning water, MSWD conducts thousands of tests every year and details the results in our water quality report, which is published annually by July 1st.
We create our annual water quality report to ensure that safety is the #1 priority, as well as being transparent with our customers.
This report shows the findings of the most recent water tests conducted for regulated and unregulated substances, the range of measurements, and the average figures from those tests. Those statistics can be compared to safety standards established by the State Water Resources Control Board and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, which regulate the water we serve customers. The 2 agencies determine which substances are tested and how frequently water samples are taken. Water providers are required to publish the results of those tests, demonstrating how the water supply complies with all mandatory and voluntary standards.
As a member of the community, the water quality report helps assure me and my family that we have safe, clean water to drink every day.
Because substances in water can be detected in extremely small amounts, some units are measured in parts per million, which is equal to 4 drops of water in a 55-gallon drum. Others are measured in parts per trillion, equivalent to a single drop in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. In addition to test data, The Water Quality Report contains information about our water and wastewater systems, upcoming projects, even helpful ideas to help you conserve water and protect our groundwater supply.
If our customers have any questions as they go through the water quality report, we are here to help.
Most importantly, you can depend on Mission Springs Water District to deliver water that tastes great and meets all state and federal water quality standards. To see the latest water quality report and learn more about your water, visit mswd.org.
Thank you. And I did double check that date. It is Wednesday, the 26th from 5 to 6 p.m. at the library. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further on general manager?
Concludes our report. If you have any questions, we're available.
Any questions or comments on the general manager report? Director Meyerhoffen? Director Duff? Vice President? Nope. Great job as always. Thank you. District council comments?
I gave my report on Thursday. We don't have a closed session scheduled today.
Right. Item 31, director's comments, and I do want to just make note that addition of item C of this is a request for future meetings. If you have any relevant meetings you think should be included, now would be the time in addition to your general comments and requests for future agenda items. Director Martin?
Nothing to add in that regard, except to say how much I'm continually impressed with staff and the work that they do and the information that they provide us at these meetings. It's truly remarkable people we have working here. So
thank you. Director Meyerhoffen?
No, thank you.
Director Duff?
I have one comment and one future agenda item. The comment is based on my attendance last Thursday to the Coachella Valley Associations of Governments Energy and Sustainability meeting, wherein many members of the public spoke to the association. South Coast Air Quality Management District was supposed to be present. They were not, unfortunately. But the public is outcrying regarding the air quality 9 months post Hillary. Our community has continued concerns, and although South Coast Air Quality Management District has reported that our air quality has returned to normal, many of the residents here in the valley disagree and are asking for transparency and disclosure of readings and to increase the South Coast Air Quality metering from 2 locations in this entire valley to every community, or to integrate the other meters that exist that they currently are not including in their data. What right now we are asking the public is to please send your concerns, your respiratory health problems and experiences to the South Coast Air Quality Management District. You can do so at aqmd.gov or by calling 909-396-2000 if you have concerns. Thank you for allowing me to make that public comment. Also, for future agenda items, I just would like to request that at our next workshop, we bring back Rule 35 for further discussion from the employee handbook, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Griffin?
Okay, so just everybody sit and relax. I want to congratulate General Manager Macy on getting his master's. Going to school while you're working, which I have done, is a very, very difficult thing. And then going for your master's is even more difficult. And I think what is really even most impressive is that I know probably all of us, but I know that I've been pretty hard on what my expectations are. I have high expectations for what I've expected him to do over the past year. And the fact that he's been able to do that as well as actually pass his class is pretty astounding. And so I want to say congratulations. Very proud of you and your work. And I think we all really benefit from having him here. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'll just put it out there that I appreciate the discussion and all of the work that the 4 of you do. I believe, you know, sometimes it gets a little difficult, but I encourage us all to keep working and participating. And I think we owe it to our public to do so. And then along the lines of congratulations to Brian, it's coming close to your 6 months. Will next month be an evaluation, or would that be August?
So when we talked about that at the workshop, we were wanting to do is make sure that we had the new evaluation form. Working with Oriana, we do have a new form, so we will get that to the board. Matter of fact, I think it'd be probably prudent to include it with things I'm already sending to the board, and that way we can start the process. Okay, so we'll do that.
Great. And with no closed session today, meeting is adjourned.